So this is a little more of an in-depth look at Bruce Banner, or the Incredible Hulk. This is Dot's deck. It's themed towards the Hulk. We've got all the Hulks that we're aware of in this deck, and quite a few of the other Gamma creatures in this deck as well, like She-Hulk, Abomination, and whatnot. So let's start off with, oh, these are just tokens. Let's start off with Bruce Banner. Cost 1 blue. For XX, we can tap him, draw X cards, activate only as a sorcery. And if we pay 2 red, and 2 green, we get to transform him. Alternatively, we could cast him for the 2 red, and 2 green to go right to the 8/8. This is nice to get out early, though. You can get him out early. When you transform him, he can attack because it's already on the battlefield. But you could use this to try to draw cards early in the game. When you do transform, though, you become the Incredible Hulk with Reach and Trample, an 8/8. It's got Enrage. Whenever the Incredible Hulk is dealt damage, we're going to put a +1/+1 counter on him. If he's attacking, we untap him, and there's an additional combat phase after this phase. So during combat, we can put the +1 counter on him and get additional combats. And when he's not in combat, if he gets damaged, we're going to be putting a +1 counter on him anyhow. I'm sure people know about the Cantrop, and if you don't, there's an artifact called Cantrop. And when you attack, it does 1 damage to attacking creatures. So you could potentially get infinite attacks. Dot did not want to put that in this deck, though, so it is not in here. But I'm just letting you know, you could go for infinite attacks if you had Cantrops. So here's a couple of generic ones. We've got Spider X, Derek Dino, because she also likes dinosaurs. It's got Reach and Trample, and Ward 2. We've also got the Abomination, World Ravager. It's a Gamma creature. It's got Menace and Trample. It's a 10/10. It's also got Mayhem. So if there is a way that we discard it, she could cast it for 4 in a red instead of the 7 in a red that it costs. There's a couple of ways to lower the amount anyway in the deck, but we've got a little bit of protection here with Heroic Intervention. As you can see, it's got Hulk in the in the artwork. Permanents you control gain Hexproof and Indestructible until end of turn. So you could use that if somebody's trying to get rid of your Hulk. And we've also got Call Damage Control. So you could potentially let your Hulk go to the grave. And you get to choose up to 2. Return those cards from your grave to your hand. So you could return target artifact, target creature card, enchantment card, or a land card. And you get to choose 2 of those. So there are some expensive things in here. So we're going to do some ramping. Again, with the dinosaurs. We've got Gert and Old Lace Runaways. It's got Trample. And when they enter, you may discard a card. I guess that's where, if you have Abomination in hand, you could discard him and cast him for the Mayhem cost. If you do, you get to search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. So you won't be without a land the next turn. Or any turn after that, I guess. We've got Cultivate. So we can search our library for up to 2 basic land cards, reveal those cards, put 1 onto the battlefield tapped, and the other into our hand. We've got Nature's Lore. We're going to search our library for a forest card, and we're going to put that card onto the battlefield and shuffle. Don't even have to tap it. We've got Dependable Quinjet. It's got flying. It's got crew 4. It's a vehicle. But you could tap it to add 1 mana of any color. So you could use it as the vehicle, or you can use it for some mana ramping. We've got Thought Vessel. You have no maximum hand size, and you could add tap it to add a generic. We've got a Soul Ring, of course. Tap it to add 2 colorless. We've got Talisman of Creativity. So we could tap it for a colorless, or we could tap it for a blue or a red. But when we do this artifact will deal 1 damage to us. We've also got an Arcane Signet. So we could tap it to add 1 mana of any color in our commander's color identity. So that'll be blue, red, or green. Got a Gilded Lotus. It's a bit expensive, but when you tap it, you add 3 mana of any 1 color. Sweet, unless somebody removes it. We've got Doc Samson, Super Psychiatrist. So what's nice is he is a gamma creature as well. And if we would put 1 or more counters on a permanent we control, we put that many plus 1 of each of those kinds of counters on that permanent instead. So we do have some +1 counters going on in here. So we'll get an extra 1 out of that. And when we tap him, we can add X mana of any 1 color, where X is Doc Samson's power. So right away, we can add 3 mana of any 1 color. But if we get some +1 counters on him, we could be getting more. Making a nice strong creature or a nice mana ramp creature. We've also got World War Hulk. Now I put it in this because the first chapter is the next red or green creature spell you cast this turn can be cast without paying its mana cost. So we can even spend that on the Incredible Hulk from the command zone, if that would be your next creature. It just costs 3 and 2 green, so a lot of these Hulks are pretty expensive, so it's a way to get them out at a discount. You could also get out the Abomination that costs 7 in a red instead of the Mayhem cost. You can bring that one out for this chapter as well for free. On chapter 2, we've got put 3 +1 counters on target creature we control. So we do have +1 counter things going on here, making our big creatures even bigger. And we've got choose target creature you control until end of turn, double its power and toughness, and it gains trample. Now, a lot of them already have trample. Not everybody does, but a lot of them do. So, you know, the trample part is kind of like, it's okay. But for some of your creatures that don't have trample, it'll help that out. But doubling its power and toughness, geez. When Incredible Hulk's already an 8/8 or Abomination is a 10/10 and you're doubling that, crazy. We've also got Earth's Mightiest Heroes. So this one's in the ramping kind of thing because it does cost 4 and 2 red. But if you do Teamwork, and it's Teamwork 5, it's even better. So to do Teamwork, you tap creatures with a power equal to or more than the Teamwork cost. A lot of these creatures are pretty strong to begin with, so you could probably just tap 1 creature to get the Teamwork 5. So we're going to reveal the top 8 cards of our library. We're going to put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield. So kind of for free there. And that's 8 cards. So you got a good amount to select from. And if this spell was cast using Teamwork, put any number of creature cards from among them onto the battlefield instead. Put the rest into your graveyard. So downside is this is kind of a chance you're taking. Could you whiff? It's possible. Would that suck? Yes, it would. But when this goes good, you can get a whole bunch of, I wouldn't say 8, but you could get a whole bunch of really strong creatures for basically 6 mana and tapping a creature that's power is 5 or more. So it could be a nice way of cheating things out. So we've also got a bit of card draw. Because card draw is always nice. We've got Ant-Man, Reformed Rogue, because she likes Ant-Man. Whenever you cast a green spell, Ant-Man gets +1/+0 and gains trample till end of turn. And whenever you cast a blue spell, Ant-Man gets -1/-0 till end of turn and can't be blocked this turn. So whenever Ant-Man deals combat damage to a player, we're going to draw a card. We've also got Professor Hulk, because he's a Hulk, gamma creature. He's got trample, and whenever Professor Hulk deals combat damage to a player, we're going to draw that many cards. So right off the bat, he's already a 6/6. So 6 cards. Crazy. It does cost 6, but again, if we're rampant enough, or we can cheat him out, then yay for that. We've also got Super Intelligence. It's nice and cheap. It just costs 1. Enchant creature. At the beginning of the upkeep of enchanted creature's controller, that player draws a card. We've also got Tomb of Legends. She just really thought this was funny. Like the whole comic book thing with the kids reading it. This artifact enters with a page counter on it. Whenever your commander enters or attacks, we're going to put a page counter on this artifact. And if we pay 1 and tap it, we're going to remove a page counter from this artifact and draw a card. And if you've got the Hulk out, you're going to be attacking quite often, if not all the time. Putting that pressure on, and you'll get your page counters. You'll get to draw a card. We got the 10 rings. Now this is kind of expensive, but if we've done enough ramping, you could potentially use it. And she also likes the 10 ring thing, but it's pretty good for the your hand size and card draw. So your maximum hand size is 10. At the beginning of your end step, if you have fewer than 10 cards in hand, you're going to draw cards equal to the difference. So you can just keep your hand full for every turn to the beginning of your turn. It does cost 8 though, so it is hefty. Whether or not you use it or not, that's a different story. We've got Think Twice. Draw a card. It's also got Flashback of 2 and a blue. And we've got Vision of Love. You may sacrifice an artifact or discard a card. We'd probably discard a card. Again, if you have Abomination in there with the Mayhem, that would be a good one to discard if you have the mana to cast him for the Mayhem. And if you do that, you get to draw 2 cards. So let's take a look at some of these +1 counter things. We'll look at some selfish people who just do it to themselves first. We've got Hulkling, Burgeoning Bruiser. It's got Vigilance. Whenever another creature you control enters, if it had or has greater power or toughness than Hulkling, we're going to put a +1 counter on Hulkling. So a lot of the creatures are bigger, so Hulkling's going to grow. We've also got Abomination, Irradiated Brute. He's got Trample, and whenever a Gamma or villain you control deals combat damage to a player, we're going to put that many +1 counters on Abomination. And we've got lots of Gamma creatures in here. Well, quite a few Gamma creatures in here. A couple of villains, most of them being Abomination, but the Gamma thing is more important. Should be getting those +1 counters. So Abomination could grow real big, especially since the Gamma creatures are pretty strong to begin with. So you're going to be putting that many +1 counters on him. He could grow big real fast after the first attack with a bunch of Gamma creatures. We've got Hulk, Gamma Goliath. Because it's a Hulk, it's got Reach and Trample. Power-up abilities of other creatures you control cost 3 less to cast. There's only 2 other power-up creatures in here. She-Hulk, and Abomination. So it's not really a big thing we're going to rely on. But if he's out, you do get that discount. And he's also got power up 6 red and green, so we could put 5 +1 counters on Hulk. Already 6/5, so that'll be an 11/10 with trample and reach. We've got Wolverine, best there is. Oh, I should mention for the power up is you can only do it once, and it is possible to reduce the cost by the mana cost if they entered this turn. So if you want to do the whole thing, if you can afford 8 mana, 6 and 1 red and 1 green, you could basically cast it, spend the rest that you need to spend, which is, so you're going to be spending 5, it's another 3, that'll equal the 8, and you can power them up right away. If not, you got to wait and you got to pay the full power up cost later. We've also got Wolverine, best there is. So he's going to double all damage Wolverine would deal. At the beginning of each end step, if Wolverine dealt damage to another creature this turn, we're going to put a +1 counter on him. And if we pay 1 and a green, we could regenerate Wolverine. So it's always good to, if you have Wolverine out, save a green and 1 other mana. You could use him to block a creature and regenerate him, especially if the creature is bigger, and he'll get a +1 counter, so you can start growing. You could use him for an attack. If somebody blocks him, do the same thing. You could end up getting him pretty big and scary like the little Wolverine is. There are, again, +1 counters in here, so you can grow big faster. The regeneration is kind of nice to keep him from dying. We got She-Hulk, Wallbreaker. So she's got trample. Other heroes you control have trample. Again, there's not too many heroes in here without trample because there's a lot of gamma creatures, but there are some without trample. So this will kind of help that out. But whenever a hero you control becomes blocked, we're going to put a +1/+1 counter on that hero for each creature blocking it. That'll help Wolverine out. That'll help Hulk out. That'll help all your creatures with hero out. Maybe not Abomination, but any creature with hero. So it's kind of nice. We've also got Ant-Man, Colony Commander. Whenever Ant-Man attacks, you may pay 1. When you do, put a +1 counter on target creature, so you can put a +1 counter on any creature. Whenever you put a +1 counter on a creature, you're going to create a 1/1 green insect creature token. The ability triggers only once each turn. So you could start creating some insects where you're putting +1 counters on things. Unfortunately, it only happens once each turn. Maybe you could go wide with it. Maybe you could just use them as chump blockers. I say chump blockers. We've got Hulk, strongest there is. So it's got trample. Hulk enters with a +1 counter on him. At the beginning of your upkeep, you're going to double the number of +1 counters on each gamma creature you control. So again, we've got quite a few gamma creatures. And now we're going to double the +1 counters on each gamma creature. So this can get out of hand if this is just sitting there on the board there. He's already going to start with a +1 counter and start doubling them, and every other gamma creature you control with +1 counters. Yeah, that could get out of hand if it's just sitting around pretty quickly. We've also got Hulk, Brutal Brawler. Hulk attacks each combat at Fable. Whenever Hulk attacks, we're going to put a +1 counter on each other creature you control. So he likes buffing other creatures. If you got ways, well, we do have ways to put +1 counters on him to keep him from dying, that'll be good. We've also got some buffs too. A few combat tricks, I guess. But yeah, you can make your other creatures grow big. We've got the Origin of the Hulk. Again, more for the flavor. Chapter 1, we create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. Probably going to use that for a chump block. Chapter 2, we're going to put 2+1 counters on target creature we control. So again, with the +1 counters. And target creature you control gets +3/+3 and gains trample till end of turn. That's chapter 3. So nice buff there. We've got training regimen. Creatures you control with +1 counters on them have trample. And at the beginning of combat on our turn, we're going to put a +1 counter on target creature we control. So, again, guaranteeing a +1 counter going on at the beginning of combat. We got Path of Discovery. This is nice because it does one of two things for you. So whenever a creature you control enters, it explores. Explore is a great mechanic. I liked it from the Lost Caverns of Ixalan and whatnot. But you reveal the top card of your library. And you put that card into your hand if it's a land. So you're kind of ramping there, making sure you've got land in your hand to play. Otherwise, you put a +1 counter on the creature and then put the card back, or you put it into your grave. So you got options here. Your creature is either going to grow, you get to look at the top card, and you could make the creature grow or put it into the grave if you don't want that card on top. Putting that +1 counter on your creature, or if it's a land, again, you get to make sure you've got land to play. And of course, we got Shang-Chi, Martial Mentor. So if one or more +1 counters would be put on a creature you control, twice that many +1 counters are put on that creature instead. He's got power up. Oh, I forgot about his power up. So we got one more power up creature in here for the Hulk to discount. Power up is 5 and 2 green. So we put 3 +1 counters on Shang-Chi. Of course, he'll see himself do that and put 6 on himself. But that's kind of nice that we get to put twice that many on there. As well as, remember, we got Doc Samson, who will give us one more +1 counter whenever we put counters on things. So we got a bit of removal here, too. We've got She-Hulk, Jade Defender. She's a gamma creature as well. She's got Reach, Trample, power up, 4 and 2 green. So we get to destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment, and then we're going to put a +1 counter on She-Hulk. So some enchantment artifact removal. We've got Hulk, Always Angry. The problem with this one is, I put it in the removal because it's got trample, and when Hulk enters, we destroy all artifacts. Hulk attacks each combat if able. So he's nice and strong, 9/9. Gets rid of the artifacts, but the problem we have too is we got to be careful when we cast it, because we do have a lot of artifacts that are a ramp as well. So be prepared to lose whatever artifact ramp you have when you bring him out on the board. If you're okay with it, bring him out and start attacking. Start swinging. We've also got Hull Breach. So we choose one, destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, or destroy target artifact and target enchantment. Again, some options for artifacts and enchantments here. We've got Hawkeye, Master Marksman. So I put him in this section because, he's got First Strike and Reach. But whenever Hawkeye becomes tapped, we could pay 1 up to 3 times. When we do, we choose up to that many. So I put him in this section because of the first one. Target creature can't block this turn. So that's always nice if there is a creature that's undesirable for Hulk to be blocked by. You can always prevent that one from blocking and force the opponent to use other creatures to block. We've also got Hawkeye deals 2 damage to target player, and we've got discard a card, then draw a card for a little bit of card draw there. We've also got Depower. It costs 2 less to cast if it targets an attacking creature. It's an instant. So target creature gets -4, -0 till end of turn, and we get to draw a card. So surprise, you're depowered. We've also got Wolverine, Fierce Fighter. It's got haste. When Wolverine enters, he fights up to one other target creature. So he's a 3/5, so you can get rid of anything with the toughness of 3. If damage would be dealt to Wolverine, instead that damage is dealt, and all other damage already dealt to him is healed. So he could be pretty resilient. We've also got Abomination, Terrifying Titan. He's got Trample. He's got Power Up 5 and either 2 green, 2 red, or a green and a red, depending on how you want to do it. We're going to put a +1 counter on Abomination, and he fights up to 1 target creature an opponent controls. Again, a Gamma creature. Already a 4/4, but if you power him up, he'll be a 5/5 and get to remove a creature there. We've got Red Hulk. It's got Reach and Trample. Again, another Gamma creature. It's got Enrage. Whenever Red Hulk is dealt damage, we're going to put a +1 counter on him. When we do, he deals damage equal to the number of +1 counters on him to any other target. So that could be removal, or that could be just straight up damage to the opponent's face. We've got Punishing Punch. Costs 2 less to cast if there are 2 more creatures in your grave. Target creature you control deals damage equal to twice its power to target creature an opponent controls. With the really strong creatures in here, it's pretty likely you'll be able to remove things that way. And it's an instant, so you could do it at any time. We've also got Hulk Smash. It's got Teamwork 4. So again, you could tap a creature for the teamwork, or a couple of creatures. So choose one. If the spell was cast using Teamwork, choose both. So you could destroy target non-creature artifact. And target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. That's some good removal. We got Force of Vigor. Costs 2 and 2 green, but if it's not your turn, you may exile a green card from your hand rather than pay the spell's mana cost. So we could destroy up to 2 target artifacts and or enchantments. So that's very flexible. So potentially 2 artifacts, 2 enchantments, 1 artifact, 1 enchantment, 2 artifacts, 1 enchantment, 2 enchantments, 1 artifact, or 2 and 2. I think that covers it all. Very flexible. We've also got Epic Fight. So we're going to double target creature's power and toughness until end of turn. And target creature you control fights target creature an opponent controls. So you could choose one or both. You're most likely going to choose both. We've also got Colossal Collision. So we're going to put a +1 counter on target creature we control, and then that creature deals damage equal to its power to target creature and opponent controls. If you decide not to use this, you could use its basic land cycling, pay 2, discard the card, search your library for a basic land, reveal it, put it into your hand. We've also got Rhino's Rampage. So target creature you control gets +1/+0 till end of turn. It fights target creature and opponent controls. When excess damage is dealt to the creature and opponent controls this way, we destroy up to 1 target non-creature artifact with a mana value 3 or less. So you could have a 2-for-1 here. And we've got Bionic Blow. So target creature you control gets +X/+0 until end of turn. Then it deals damage equal to its power to up to 1 other target creature. So you could use this as removal, pay into X and 2 red. You probably don't have to pay much with the big creatures in here. What you could do with this as well is you could do it to a weaker creature you have and have it damage the Hulk, so you could put a +1 counter on him if you wish. Or you could do it to the Red Hulk and put a +1 counter on him, and then he'll deal damage to any other target. So here's some buffs. We've got a Taxi Driver. Pay 1 and tap it, and target creature gains haste till end of turn. That's just in case you really need haste. We've got Super Strength. So enchant creature, enchanted creature gets +4/+4, has trample and ward 1. So a little protection there, a buff and protection. We've got accelerated evolution. So it's got flash, so you could just use it as a surprise. When this aura enters, enchanted creature gains hexproof till end of turn. So a little protection there. And enchanted creature gets +2/+2. We've also got Stegron, the dinosaur man. Again with dinosaurs. It's got menace. So you could cast it as a creature, but the nice thing about this is I put this in here because it could be a surprise combat thing. We've got a dinosaur formula. You pay 1 and a red, discard this card. Until end of turn, target creature you control gets +3/+1 and becomes a dinosaur in addition to its other types. It's mostly there for the +3/+1, so you could be like, surprise. We've also got beast mode. It's got teamwork 1. Nice and cheap for the teamwork here. Target creature gets +2/+2 and gains trample till end of turn. Also put a +1 counter on that creature if the spell was cast using teamwork. Got Blazing Crescendo. Target creature gets +3/+1 till end of turn. Exile top card of your library until the end of your next turn. You could play that card. Giant Growth, always a classic for those combat tricks. Target creature gets +3/+3 till end of turn. We've got Hammer of Thor. So when it enters, it deals 4 damage to up to 1 target creature. So a bit of removal there, or it could be. Actually, you could also deal the 4 damage to the Red Hulk or to the Incredible Hulk for that +1 counter. And Red Hulk dealing damage again. So double all damage equipped creature would deal. So this could make any of your creatures, especially the Hulk, devastating. So you can go for that commander damage for sure when you got this equipped to the Incredible Hulk. So it's got equip worthy 1. A creature is worthy if it's a legendary non-villain that's red and or white. And yeah, the Incredible Hulk is red. Just happens to be red, green, blue, but if we pay 2 in a red, we could discard this card and it deals 2 damage to each creature. We could probably even do that during combat so that we do 2 damage to the Incredible Hulk while it's attacking, get our +1 counter and an extra combat. And we've also got Fiery Emancipation. If a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage to the permanent or player instead. So for the Incredible Hulk, that could be pretty devastating to other players, as he will be going for commander damage with his trample. So for the last little bit in here, we've got Photon Blast Barrage. It's a sorcery. It's X and red. When you cast a spell, copy it X times. You may choose new targets for the copy. Photon Blast Barrage deals 1 damage to target creature. So I prefer, or Dot prefers, to use this on the Incredible Hulk or Red Hulk. You make a bunch of copies, you'll deal damage to them, and you grow them big. Red Hulk doing its damage as well. We've got Grape Shot, a similar type of thing. Grape Shot deals 1 damage to any target, and it's got Storm, so when we cast the spell, we're going to copy it for each spell cast before it this turn. We could choose new targets for the copy, but most likely we'll just target our Incredible Hulk or Red Hulk. We've also got Truck Tossed. It's an instant. Costs 2 and 2 red. The spell costs 2 less to cast if you control a vehicle. If we do have our Quinjet, if we're not using it for the mana, we could throw it at somebody. Or not throw it at somebody. Well, I guess so. I guess we can throw it at somebody. Truck Toss deals 4 damage to any target. Again, you can use this while you're attacking with the Hulk to do damage to the Hulk to get an extra combat, especially if the opponent doesn't block. If they're like, I'm not blocking because, you know, I don't have enough creatures to kill him and I don't want the extra combat, then you can go with surprise. I'm getting an extra combat anyway. And Hulk is stronger. Lightning Strike, same type of thing. You do Lightning Strike, deals 3 damage to any target. You could use it on other creatures, or you can use it on Hulk during combat. The opponent doesn't want to block. They don't have enough to kill the Hulk. And you want that extra combat. You just hit the Hulk yourself. And we've got Shock. Similar type of thing. It's very cheap. It's 1 red. And Shock deals 2 damage to any target. It's an instant. Same thing. During combat, nobody wants to block Hulk. Well, guess what? Hulk's getting that extra combat. Or you could use it on something else. And that would be a more in-depth look at Dot's Hulk deck. Hope it gave some ideas. And hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.